Well, this is the farthest I've been away from my camera, so hopefully you can hear me. I've been checking the soil out this morning and it's 43 degrees and the top layer of the soil is finally starting to thaw enough for me to be able to put it into some of my containers. So this is just compost. I'm going to start the seeds out in the compost. So I'm going to start filling up my containers. Like I said, just the top layer of the soil is starting to thaw. It's still kind of frozen, just a few inches down, but I should be able to get enough to at least start some seeds. Okay, so I've filled a few of my containers with the compost, but it's still really cold and the seeds don't like cold any more than I do. So I brought them into the greenhouse to let them warm up. I have no heat going in here except for one light that's in the corner. These lights right here are actually LED lights. They don't produce any heat. So all the heat that I have extra in here is just from one light bulb, 160-watt light bulb. If it gets really cold, I have a double layer of plastic on the top that I can pull down, and that kind of creates a greenhouse inside of a greenhouse. It's an extra layer of protection. Right now it's 43 degrees outside, but it's 56 degrees in here. So that's with no heat, really. I do have a propane heater, but I only use that in the late fall and in the early spring when temperatures dip down for maybe 2 to 3 nights at the top. I don't run that all winter. It's a waste of fuel. There are plants that you can grow in cooler weather and in the cold. Kale is actually very hardy down to 20 degrees. I have some out in the garden right now. It's been down to 0 almost every night for the last week up until about 2 nights ago. It started warming up into the 20s, and it's still green. But it's kind of interesting because it's supposed to be hardy down to 20 and it's been hardy down to 0. So kale is one that you can grow. Also, things like lettuce is cold hardy. A lot of your leafy greens you can grow during the winter. You can also grow carrots during the winter as well. The cold actually brings the sweetness out of the carrots. So if you plant your carrots in the late fall and overwinter them in the ground, it brings out that sweetness in the carrots that you don't get from the from the grocery stores. I do have powder on some of my plants in here because during the winter there's not a lot of predatory insects, and the aphids really like the greenhouse. But the only powder that I use is food grade diatomaceous earth. I don't use anything else on my plants. I have honeybees, and I'm very particular about doing things all naturally because I don't want to hurt my honeybees. I also don't like getting anything into the honey except the real nectar. I don't like all the chemicals and things that can potentially get into the honey. I'm very picky about that. So after my soil warms up some, then I'll be able to start planting some things in here. The seeds that I've already started in the house will most likely go into other containers, not these big containers. These bigger containers are for things like carrots that once I plant them, I can't transplant them. Carrots don't like to be transplanted. Some things can be easily transplanted, like tomatoes and peppers, and some things do not like their roots disturbed, like carrots. So onions and carrots will probably be the ones going into these pots. It is now 52 degrees outside and almost 70 degrees in my greenhouse. So in mid-January, I'm having to open the doors to my greenhouse